You have an interview scheduled, you wake up in the morning, the day of your interview, and you are sick. What do? Maybe you have the flu. Maybe you have a really bad cold. You are sick and you are not feeling 100%. What do? Hey, I'm Abby and welcome back to the Life-Work Balance YouTube channel. Today I want to answer that exact question. What do you do when you are sick and you have a job interview? I'm a career and interview coach, and I am here to help you strike the perfect balance between life and work. If you're in the process of searching for a new job, I offer one-on-one coaching that will allow you to really strategize how to best find that job, prepare for an interview, and even negotiate your salary. So if that's some support that you're looking for, please let me know. I've linked to my website as well as my email in the description box below. I offer weekly sessions, but my slots fill up quickly. So if you are interested in that additional support, contact me today. So what do you do when you wake up the morning of an important interview and you are so sick? Now, being sick is on a continuum. So it's really going to be up to you to determine how sick you are and if it is the most strategic move to move forward with your interview in the state or the condition that you're in. If you are bedridden, you have no energy, your mind is a complete fog, then it's probably a good idea to try to reschedule. If you have a slight sniffle, maybe a little bit of a cough, and your interview is virtual, then maybe it's something that you can push or power through. So it's ultimately going to be up to you to decide what to do in this situation. My advice is that how the interviewers handle you being sick and requesting to reschedule will be indicative of how your organization handles you being sick in the future if you were to get hired. So keep this in mind. If you are slightly under the weather, but you still feel like you have enough energy and mental capacity to interview well, then maybe you move forward with your interview. You don't say anything to the interviewers. If it's a virtual interview, great. You don't even have to worry about putting on a mask or protecting others from your potential sickness. If it's in person, then you may want to consider masking up just to protect others from your potential germs. And if you're really ill, you're throwing up, you're nauseous, your stomach is in knots, your brain is foggy, you can hardly stand up, you feel shaky and weak, then it will be best to reschedule regardless of if this is in person or virtual. So how do you go about doing this? Well, it's not necessary for you to disclose every bit of information about how you're feeling. However, you do want to probably disclose that you're feeling under the weather to the interviewer or the recruiter who has coordinated this interview. You can send an email like the following. Now, my disclaimer is that this is a template, so you want to make sure you customize this template with specific details like the time and the date that you might propose for a new interview so that it best fits your situation. This template is a great balance between a professional and considerate email while also requesting to reschedule because you're feeling under the weather. So you could say something like, "Dear Jane, I hope this message finds you well. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling well today, and I believe it would be best to reschedule our interview to ensure I'm at my best during our conversation. I truly apologize for any inconvenience this may cause, and I appreciate your understanding. Would it be possible to reschedule for another time? I'm available during these dates and times. Thank you for your flexibility, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Best regards, Abby." Now, how the interviewers respond to this email will be indicative of the organizational culture around this. Now, they may also be on a very tight timeline and not have a lot of flexibility. So you do run the risk of them saying, "Sorry, we can't move forward with the interview if you can't attend at this given time." In a perfect world, that doesn't happen. Ideally, they reschedule and you're able to attend your interview feeling your best. They may not be able to accommodate rescheduling. If they're not able to do this, then you have a couple of options. You can either withdraw your application or you can attempt to interview. Both come with risks. If you withdraw your application, then you will no longer be considered for the position. If you attempt to interview and you are not feeling your best, then you run the risk of not making the best impression and them deciding not to move forward with you anyway. At the same time, if you pull yourself together and you are able to interview, you could make a really good impression that you are able to work through and push even when you are not feeling 100%. Now, I feel really conflicted about that because if I were working for an organization that didn't give me any flexibility when it came to a project or a deadline or just coming into work in general because I'm feeling under the weather, that probably wouldn't be the best fit for me. If they're not willing to give me this flexibility during the interview process, then it's likely that they're not willing to give me the flexibility in the workplace. So I would deeply consider if this role is the right fit for me. If I believe that it is the best fit for me, if I believe that I'm going to love this organization, love this team, love this role, then it might be worth it to try to interview when I'm not feeling my best. And I've got that red flag waving in the background telling me that they're not flexible enough to reschedule this interview, which means they might not be flexible if I'm actually in the role. So my recommendation, my advice is that if you do not believe that you will perform your best for the interview when you are feeling under the weather, then you should attempt to reschedule for a time when you are feeling better. Ideally, it's in the same week. Maybe you need just 1 to 2 days to recover or to get to a better place physically where you're not feeling as mentally exhausted or feeling such a brain fog. So it doesn't have to be pushed a week in the future or several weeks in the future for you to be feeling 100%. They are likely on a timeline trying to make this decision. So you want to be as considerate of their time as they are of yours and of your health. So in a perfect world, you reschedule for a couple of days later, not necessarily weeks in advance. If they are unwilling to reschedule, take that into consideration with making your decision on if this is the right role for you, if this is the right team for you, if this is the right organization for you. Just to reiterate, my advice is to attempt to reschedule. Now, my question to you is, have you ever done this and how did it work out? Have you attempted to reschedule? How did the interviewers respond? Did you try to push through it when you were not feeling your best? And how did that interview go? Let me know in the comments box below. If you found this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you have any additional questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas on when you're feeling sick and you've got an interview scheduled, let me know in the comments box below. I'll do my best to respond to each of your comments individually, and just know that if I'm not able to get back to you quickly, your comments will likely help someone else in the future who's going through something similar. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life-work balance advice delivered directly to you every week. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.